Wallace. Brandon Wallace is joining us. In fact, he's going to give us a briefing. I think this is the first we're doing it in the state of North Carolina for just a local association. I invited all the athletic directors and bookkeepers, treasurers, or whoever's going to do the financial piece, payments for our association, for all the schools that we service. That's to include the Cumberland County Middle Schools. I have Mr. James Lewis from Sampson County, Tina Branchford from Cumberland County, and I got some individuals from Robertson County. When I say that, they have county ADs. I noticed Jason Folsom, some other people, Eric Sanders from Robertson County, Adam Deese, who's also coach and an AD. Normally wouldn't do this on game day, this big Friday night. Again, it's 3 teams on the field, guys, when we go down on Thursday, Friday night. Those play on Wednesdays, those middle schools. That's two schools and officials. People know we have a official shortage throughout the nation. A lot of that, and for various reasons. But again, part of the athletic contest is not only for me assigning the right officials to the right game on the right day, but what helps me is they come to your school, these and your fans and your coaches, and only they exercise sportsmanship. Also, when we consider ourselves guests at the school. They go there, there's a good experience. Part of the experience is getting paid, okay? We try to do here in Cumberland County, from the athletic contest, they pay them within 3 days. With the technology the way it is, a person can get paid the same day, all right? So just for everybody's understanding here, when I assign an official to your game, they will not be replaced during the contest. You start off at 4 and someone gets hurt or something happens, you'll have 3. Same thing with a varsity assignment. Once the officials arrive to your game site, they are entitled to full game fee, right? Unless the contest for some reason doesn't start and whatever, again, half a game fee. But again, so part of that, in order to do this new transition going from the platform we used previously, which was Orbiter, we're now in the Dragonfly. And I'm using Dragonfly exclusively. I'm not using part of this and do this, making assignments. I'm using Dragonfly for payment and assigning. So with that being said, today, Mr. Brandon Wallace has, he's ready to point of contact really for the commissioner of us, North Carolina, Mr. Q Tucker. But he has accepted the invitation and he's gonna take you through all the processes as what you do as a game day administrator has become to a payment person as it pertains to the paying of officials. The vouchers, we have some schools here that pay on site. We'll go through that. If you have any question whatsoever, he'll run this briefing, where he's gonna take the questions at the end. We have a chat room that you can go in and voice questions to. At this time, I'm gonna ask Mr. Brandon Wallace from Dragonfly to go ahead and address and start his presentation.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Daniels. I appreciate you setting this up. Ms. Bratcher, good to see you again. Hope y'all are doing well. I do appreciate the time for everyone to be here. As Mr. Daniels mentioned, I know it is the beginning of the school year and it's Football Friday, so I do appreciate the time, and I will be respectful of your time as we go through this morning. I'm going to begin today by showing you some of the resources that you can get back to coming out of the call today, because we're gonna get through this and there'll be some questions. Some of you may be seeing this for the first time though, and you may need some follow-up. So I'm going to give you at least some idea of where you can go for resources. And then coming out of this, I will also provide kind of a summary of what we covered today with some links. And again, we'll compile all these resources into one place that hopefully Mr. Daniels or Ms. Bratcher or someone can spread out to everyone, at least that is affected by this the payment discussion on this call. Another thing I would say is this, pretty laid back and free flowing here. So if you got a question while we're going through today, just interrupt me while we're talking. This is nothing formal. It's better to go ahead and answer the questions that you have as opposed to just listening to me talk for however long it takes us to get through this. So I would prefer to be interrupted and make this presentation about you and answering your questions as opposed to just listening to myself talk. So with that, I will get rolling. At this point, I think most of you are familiar with this kind of landing web page here, the dragonflymax.com. That's dragonflymax.com. Again, for those of you that are brand new, this is the place where you will come to create your account. If you have not yet, it is the place that you'll come back to log in after you have created your account. And it is the place that's got all the resources and information and videos and training material. It's a place where you can find, W-9s and things of that nature if you need that to set us up as a vendor in your school system, or a funding sheet if you need to write a check rather than fund your account via ACH. All of those things can be found here at dragonflymax.com, and the lion's share of them will be under this payments section up here at the top. I'll click on that, and you'll see there's lots of information here about the different things that payment system means to us here at Dragonfly. For the purposes of what we're talking about today, we're going to stay focused on the payment of officials and game workers. Now, some of you end up, I know, kind of helping out with some of the officials that show up that may have questions. So if you can pass along to them as well that, hey, they've got resources here that walk them through how to withdraw their money, how to get paid on, whether on the web or on the mobile app, and it walks them through with videos and screenshots and instructions. And all of that same type of information is available to the folks on this call as well. One thing that I will point out here is we've got these scheduled demo links all over our website. Basically on every one of these pages I'm going to click on, you're going to see a button that says schedule a demo. And that will allow you to schedule a one-on-one session with us here at Dragonfly rather than a larger group session like this if you end up needing it, or it's something that is of interest to you and you want to come back later, offer suggestions, feedback, or ask other questions. Again, for the purposes of today, we'll stay focused on the payment of officials and game workers. So again, you'll see the top link here. When I clicked on that was to get another demo. The other items that you'll see here, kind of walks you through step by step. How do you fund your account in the first place? And you'll see once I click on that, we've got directions with screenshots and written instructions that walk you through, again, how to fund your account, how to get it all set up initially. There's another section that will walk you through the actual, hey, how do I click the buttons to pay my officials once the contest has ended, or once the officials show up. Again, there's videos, there's pictures, screenshots, written instructions. I'm not going to force you to listen to me walk through the instructions. You can read those yourselves if you are inclined to do so, or watch the videos. There are only 1 or 2 minute YouTube videos that are there. Of course, this third step of this, again, just kind of keeping everything together, is the officials actually transferring the pay to their account once you have paid them. Go back here again for those business office folks. The Dragonfly W-9s are located here on a couple different pages. If for those of you that need to and prefer to fund your account via check rather than ACH payment, that account funding sheet is here. And again, as a reminder, I'm going to send all of this information to Mr. Daniels at the end of today's session so that he can get out to each of you. Or if can be provided with email list of attendees here today, I will send it directly to you. But don't worry about trying to take notes or remember all this. I'm going to send it all into a compiled list for you as soon as we finish today. So before I actually get into clicking the buttons in the software, any questions so far?
Yes, Brandon.
Yes, sir.
When you say on the funding of accounts, I have a couple of questions. I mean, some are, because they all school personnel, maybe coming to call a little later. Now, when they go and you say that, what's the time length from the time when you get that, whether they send it by check or the ACH, before they can use that to, go in there and pay the officials?
Yes, sir. That's a good question. So we say 2 to 3 business days on the ACHs. That's kind of standard banking transfer timeline. The funding via check, we say to give it 7 to 10 days once you drop it in the mail. Give you a little more of an idea. So if you are planning on, on the mailing of a check, obviously that's a fairly extensive timeline when you're talking about turnaround. So our process here at Dragonfly is we go to the mailbox and then subsequently to the bank on Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning. So our controller would go to the post office, pick up the checks that have been mailed, and then deposit those into the into the bank on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that, again, hopefully kind of gives you, for that 7 to 10 day window, you got to mail it from North Carolina to Alabama, and then we'll pick it up on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and deposit those.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. As a reminder, and I have not covered it yet, but I think this is straightforward, but I want to make sure that I hit on it, because you guys may get a couple of these questions. One, we do cover the 1099s on your behalf, and also the officials are not charged for withdrawing their money, no matter how often. I've gotten that, on occasion. I know that's not technically your job. I know Mr. Daniels has answered that question probably a number of times, but I do want to let you at the schools know, in case the officials come to you and ask you, hey, would you just cut me a check? I don't want Dragonfly charging me. We do not charge the officials to withdraw their money, nor do we charge you to ACH your money onto the platform or off of the platform. So for those of you kind of taking stock there at home, the only cost that's associated with the Dragonfly platform at all is the $2 per official per date invoicing fee when you actually pay the officials. And again, that's a $2 per official per date, not per game. That's pretty straightforward in football. If you got a 5-person or 7-person crew, it'd be 5 times $2, 7 times $2. But if you're talking volleyball tournaments, if you're talking, basketball tournaments, things like that, where an official may show up and call 3 or 4 contests all on the same day, it doesn't matter the number of contests they call. Again, it's $2 per official per date, and that is the only expense associated with any part of the Dragonfly platform. Ms. Bratcher has a point here in the chat. If anyone wants to go read it, I won't. That one's steering out of my lane, Ms. Bratcher. I don't talk about anybody else. I only talk about myself. All right. So basically, for the purposes of this call, we will limit what we're talking about here from a payments section, from a payment standpoint, to 2 sections of the software. One of them is the payment section. The other is the game schedule section. For those of you that are administration, you're probably already intimately familiar, maybe even more familiar than you want to be, with the game schedule section. Same with Errol, who's assigning these games. But those are the 2 sections that we'll live in. So all of the payment setup, the account setup, the funding of your account, withdrawal of money, any of the business office folks that need to pull reports, anything that is not literally clicking the pay button is going to occur here in payments. And again, that's including all your reports and your ledgers and pulling receipts and invoices, and anything like that is going to happen here in this payments tab. The account setup and setting all the security and permissions, adding new accounts, confirming your micro deposits if you have not already done that for the verification of your account. All of that sort of account management happens here in the Manage Accounts tab. So I'm in the Payments section, the Manage Accounts tab, and this is where we will come to add a new bank account if you have not already, or add a new Dragonfly Cash account. And I'll get into the difference in those in just one second. But any of that type of account setup or addition of a new account happens here. Again, I'm in Payments, Manage Accounts. I'll go to Add New Account. So if I were to set up a bank account, of course, it's likely to be business and checking, because if we're coming from the school side of things. I won't make you watch me fill all this information in: business name, bank name, routing number, verify the routing, account number, verify the account number. Nickname is something that you kind of put in here, because when you go to, we'll show it in just a second, when you go to transfer these funds, then it's going to ask you the name of the account. So you can transfer from your bank into the Dragonfly Cash account. Again, I will go into that a little further in just a second. But the most important thing here, if you don't pay attention to anything else today in setting up your account, is to make sure that you set the security permissions around both your bank account as well as the Dragonfly Cash accounts. And so before I go into the difference in those two, I want to kind of show you, for each of the accounts that you set up for each of your organizations, you can set the permissions to give it a user role base. So whether that is administration or coach, CFO, bookkeeper, athletic director, principal, you can see these here. So any role that's within your organization, you can do that role based. I would say, obviously, just be careful with that, especially for those of you in the business office. I don't want to start an argument here on the Zoom call today, but be careful with giving, like the administration tag. because that means anybody that's got the administration within the school would then have access to the account. So my personal recommendations, you'll make your own decisions on these, would be to either give it, just financial staff, or give it specifically to athletic director, principal, bookkeeper, or I guess or. So you can do it by user role, but you can also do it specifically by user name. So we could go and add just anybody from our organization here by name. And that'll give just these specific individuals that are listed here access to that account. You can mix and match these two, but again, that's one of the things that I will say is kind of the most important. Hey, if you're going to set this up, just make sure this is the first thing that you do, even if you kind of do half of it and come back later. Just make sure that you set the permissions on it as soon as you come in to set up the account. Any questions on that, the addition of a bank account here for planning to ACH? Okay, so we got a comment here. So this is a kind of important thing. So I've done the micro deposit twice. Nothing is showing or happening. What we see oftentimes with school bank accounts is you have a restriction on it from your central office or when the bank account was set up that doesn't allow any deposits into the account. If that or chat with them online or check your online statement. If nothing is showing up, this is going to fall into one of two categories 99.9% of the time. The information that was originally input, there was an error there. So you typed a 9 when it should have been a 0. And so we're actually sending micro deposits to either nowhere or to a wrong account. And of course, that's the whole point of this, is making sure that the verification happens on the correct account. Or with it being a school system or a school, then their institution may be just blocking any sort of deposits into your account at all. They just have a block on the account. And I've seen that fairly often. The options there to get beyond that are to, again, call your financial institution and ask them about that block, or call your central office or whoever would have set up that bank account and ask them if there is a block on the account. And you can either lessen the restrictions on that, or if that's just too much, get with us and you can send us a voided check from your account and we'll manually verify for your school on that end of things. But we do have to have some sort of verification to make sure that the accounts are correct and that we have some sort of proof that we are linking the right people to the right.
Hey, Brandon.
Yes.
Is that the same thing for the voided check for officials too? Because we're having some officials with the same issue.
It is, yeah. And so, other things to be aware of here. So we see a lot of people that want the immediate gratification on, look, I just connected my bank account, and then, well, it's, again, this is a transfer process with banks. So pretty much all of them are going to be 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 days on the deposits of, the micro deposits. Some people can't wait that long. So they go and start typing in just any combination of numbers in that verification, and it locks them out. Again, that's a security parameter. So John, when you're talking to the officials, and Errol, you as well, when you guys are talking to the officials, make sure you say, hey, look, you're going to set it up, and it might be a day or two before you see those micro deposits show up in your account. Wait on those before you start just typing numbers into the box. Still other scenarios that we've seen here, and this is both for the officials as well as the schools. As we see, again, kind of wanting that instant feedback, they will go to the bank account, they don't see anything, and so they will delete it and start the process over again. And they'll delete it and start it over again. So they've actually initiated 4 or 5 different micro deposit processes. So then they go to look at their bank statement, and then they got to try to match up, wait, I've got 4 different occurrences of the micro deposits here. Which one actually goes with which of my attempts? And of course, trying to detangle that. In that scenario, again, we kind of say, all right, you gotta chill out a day or two, let those clear, come back, delete your account. And so you can have a definitive, all right, these 2 deposits go with this attempt from yesterday afternoon. And now I'll go back and verify that.
Now, Brandon, one of the follow-on questions is, now who they send that voided checks to?
Yeah, so make sure that you send that to support@dragonflyathletics.com. Anybody on this call can send it directly to me, and I can, you don't have to go through the support channel. So I'll type my email
Okay.
address
Thank you.
for your for your officials. Have them send it to support@dragonflyathletics.com. And of course, that'll take a day or two for us to get that manual verification. And there may be some follow-up questions. So expect, we may have to get back with them and say, hey, all right, we need your financial institution name, and we need the name on the account. So just let the officials, if you're sending them along to that process, let them know that there may be some follow-up there as well. Other questions? And again, y'all feel free to drop those in the chat or interrupt me as I go through today. All right, so a minute ago, I mentioned, hey, there's a bank account and then there's a cash account. So Dragonfly never touches your bank account directly. Even if, you have said this many times with the different demonstrations with schools and things like that. Even if you know that you've got plenty of money in your banking account, you go to pay officials and you've got it all linked up and it's verified, and you go to pay officials and you get an insufficient funds message. That is going to be because you have not transferred the money from your bank account onto the Dragonfly platform. So even after you get the bank account linked, you'll need to transfer, and that's done in the account section. We'll look at it in just a second. But that's another thing that I've had a lot of questions about is, hey, we hooked our bank account up and we're trying to pay and it's not allowing us to. And that's because we do not ever touch your bank account directly. Again, we ask that you move that money onto the platform. And you can move that one game at a time. You can move it for the full season. You can move, just a lump sum of 5,000 on and then track that as you pay it down, and then move another lump sum. Makes no difference to us how you do that, but you will have to move money from your bank account over onto the platform prior to being able to pay your officials and workers. Another point there, these cash accounts, you can have one or you can have as many as you want to set up. And I just will kind of go through on that. I've seen even throughout the state of North Carolina, there's many differences across the districts. Some people, we give you a default, your school will have just a general fund. That'll be there by default. You will not have to set that up or create a new one. You could have that there, create your bank account, and then you've already got some place to transfer that money into. If that's how you pay, you can utilize that fund, from day one. Still, other districts break it down into, I'm going to have a fall fund, a winter fund, and a spring fund. So they pay kind of their sports seasons because they budgeted that way. And so they'll set up the fall fund, winter fund, spring fund. And then as they move money over or between the sports and seasons, they'll just transfer from the bank into fall, winter, spring, or transfer from fall to winter, from winter to spring as they roll forward throughout the year if there's money left over. I've still seen others that even go as far as, hey, I'm going to have a volleyball account and a soccer account and a football account because we budget specifically for the sport. And so again, I think you kind of see here, you can have as many of these accounts that you want or need based on your district policy. Makes no difference to us. Just if you end up needing multiples of those accounts, you'll just come back and set up a Dragonfly cash account for football and for volleyball or for fall or for winter. Or if you're cool with just the one account, then you got that general fund here as soon as you go to set up that bank account. Questions on the difference between a bank account and a cash account? Okay, I'll roll forward. Another thing that I will say is very important, for the folks on today's call is make sure even on the cash account that you set the permissions around, all right, who has access to it, who can see it, and who can pay from it. So if you just use this general fund, if you're setting up a new one, then you'd be able to do that, at the time that you set it up. If you're just going to use this general fund, you can click on it and you'll see this edit cash account button, and it'll pull up. Let me take this question. I may have to get with you on that, Miss Bratcher, on whether I set the middle as a feeder to the general account. I believe they're all connected to your district account. Yes. I'll get with you though after this, Miss Bratcher, when we finish up here and take a look. So you can edit the cash account. You can see here, just like when we set up on the bank account, who has access to it. So it again will be a determination that's made at the individual school level and based on the district policy of the business office at your school or in your district. That's going to be, again, the user role based or the individuals. And And one thing I will say that's different about the cash accounts than from the bank accounts is there is really only, hey, who has access to it on the bank account. On the cash account, however, you can give some people view only access. So, you may want to give a couple of people, coaches or athletic directors or principals or other, administrative level folks, the access to see it so they can come back to you and say, hey, the account's getting low. I noticed that we're down to about $500 if you could top us up. They can't actually pay from that though. So then you could leave the payment option with just the bookkeeper, the financial secretary, or anybody else within the system. So yeah, that's a really good question. When people are added, we give it to, and I'm going to answer this in two different ways. The question is, when people are added, what's the default? So people are not added in the system as a default. They select their role when they sign up. And for those of you that have already created an account, you know what I'm talking about. So if you're an administrator, then you signed up, hey, I'm an athletic director, I'm a principal, or I'm another school administrator. You can select bookkeeper and things of that nature on the way in. What is given permission to the cash accounts is that administration tag. So by default, anyone with the administration tag has access to the cash account. There is no default permissions on the bank account. So when you go to set up the bank account, we force you to select who are you giving access to the bank account. And so, that's a little bit of a difference. So the people that come into the system request access as a certain user role and then must be approved by someone with the administration tag inside the organization, inside your school. We give administration access to the cash accounts by default. We don't give any default access on the bank account. We force you to choose that at the moment you set up the bank account. And hopefully that answers the question from all angles. If we're talking about financial administrators and how you sign up, if that's kind of the question there, make sure when you go to sign up that you sign up as other school admin, and that will give you the right permissions to go in and start, set the settings around your cash accounts and your bank account and things like that, and give you access to be able to pay and all that. All right. We'll roll along. If there are other questions, again, you guys interrupt me or drop it in the chat. So once we get the accounts established, again, you can have any number of cash accounts here. You got your bank account set up. Now we're ready to actually fund the account. And we're just going to move, after we get kind of that, again, that account management, we'll move out of the manage accounts tab into the accounts section. And this is going to be, really for the financial admins. So once we're here, obviously the first step would be to transfer funds. So again, I'm in payments, I'm in the accounts tab. Here's the transfer funds button. And so it's going to ask you, all right, where are you transferring from and where are you transferring to? So this, in our test account, we got a bunch of different accounts here, but on your end, you got your accounts, your bank accounts. Again, when we ask you to set up those nicknames, this is what you'll see here in this section. So we can transfer from savings or from our test operating fund, bank account ending in 9991, over into any of those cash accounts. Again, if you're just using one, then this list will not be long like the one you're seeing here. You'll only have this one general fund. So we're transferring from our bank account into our general fund, type the amount. So let's say we're going to put 10,000 on just to start the season. This description here is an open text field. So this could be funds transfer fall sports, or funds transfer volleyball, or funds transfer soccer, or whatever you need to put here. For those, again, those financial administrators, this is going to show up on your ledger that you can kind of see in the background of where I am. And when you export out of the system into a CSV for to upload into your accounting software, that's what's going to display in the description of this funds transfer, is whatever you type here. And so you just, again, you got another indicator there of this transfer. So we can hit next, transfer it. Lets us know that we've had success there. And then let's go look at that general fund. So again, if you got multiple accounts, here's your drop down so you can navigate to each and every single one of your different cash accounts. And then you can see here's that fund transfer that I just initiated at 12:30, August 26th. there's that funds transfer. Here's the description of fall sports, telling me which account that came from, the amount, fee. Of course, it's still in a pending state. So you've got this running ledger here, and every transaction has an accompanying entry in this ledger that tells you, again, the date and time, commitment status, the description of what it was for, the amount, any fees involved with that, the net of that transaction, and what your running balance is for that particular account. Again, you'll have your available balance versus your pending balance up at the top. As a reminder, ACH transfers have a 2 to 3 day waiting period on them. So it'll take 2 to 3 days to clear and be available to you to pay, just if you're budgeting time. Other items to show you here. So we got this funds transfer. Any item that's in this ledger, I can click on it, and you got the slider menu that comes out from the side with additional transaction details. So it'll give you the total, who initiated that transfer, what their Dragonfly number is, their contact information, a little additional description here of what it is. I can also download or print a receipt from that link on every single one of the transactions, and what that looks like for an official's payment. So if we click on any of these officials, so here's a payment to an official. So you got a limited description there. You open up these transaction details, though. Again, you've got, all right, I paid this official their game fee on this date for working this position, this contest, for this sport. Here's their identifying information. Here's how much I paid them. Again, we've got it for the other official, how much was paid. Of course, that invoicing fee here. And if you're joining us late, there is a $2 per official per date transaction fee on the payment of officials. Of course, if you pay with a credit card, which there is at least one school in North Carolina that's paying with a credit card. I don't understand why, because there's all those additional fees on it. But if you elect to pay that way, you would see your credit card transaction fees here as well.
Brandon.
Yes, sir.
Now, when they have a JV varsity volleyball game or soccer game, same official works that game. When they go in and take two individual fees, they pay for the JV game and the varsity game. Do they charge $4? Or is it $2 just for both fees?
So it doesn't matter on the number of games, Errol. So that if they call a JV and a varsity game, it's just $2 for that official. Now, if they had different officials on JV versus varsity,
right? But I'm saying
right.
But because for the different sports, we don't have that in football, but we have that in basketball. But right now in volleyball, they have like R1, R2. They may call both, but different people call the line judge. So the system does that, even though they make two different transactions, they don't pay them.
No, sir. We're tracking based on. So if you see this Dragonfly ID number right here on these officials, we are tracking. All right, how many? Where were they on that date? So they could float around from different sports, not even different positions on different levels of competition, but they could go from volleyball to soccer to football all in the same day. And if you pay all those transactions, it'll only charge the $2 transaction for that date, even though it's different sports at different levels in different places.
Okay, so I mean, what school incurs that cost? I mean, because they do a JV game at one school, then they go to, like say, a different sport, another school the same afternoon. Because we have that right now because the shortage. We have a lot of multi-sport officials.
Yes, sir.
I mean, what school incurs that $2 cost? You split it?
The school that hits the pay button. Now, we're talking about two different schools on that, and they go to school A or from school A to school B. There will be a second transaction charge.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So if they change schools, then there'll be a second transaction charge. But anything happening, under the same organization ID or the same school.
Okay.
We're going to track this to $2 per official per date.
All right. Thanks.
Let me check, see if we got any other questions in the chat. No, nothing yet. All right, questions on kind of these expanded details here, this ledger from the financial folks. I know for the admins, the ADs and stuff, you might be bored out of your mind. I'm sorry, but yeah. So you can absolutely email via a voided check. Again, it's at brandon@dragonflyathletics.com, and we'll get that. If there's not any questions about it, then we'll get it confirmed, verified for you today, so you can start transferring money. All right. Other items that you see here before I actually move into, but how do I click the pay button? If you get to the end of a season or a semester or a year and you don't want to leave any excess funds sitting on the account, you can hit withdraw. Of course, it's going to ask you, hey, you're going to pull this as an ACH back into your bank account. or do you prefer a check payout? That's your choice here. So you can pull that off. Again, there's never any expense for ACHing your money on and off the platform. Financial secretaries, you're going to need reports for, just for your accounting software, for central office, or for auditors, things like that. Beside the withdraw button, there's this download transactions button. So I can hit download transactions and I can pull a month, a quarter, 6 months, 12 months, or you got these date ranges here. So, I guess the first month of payment would be August since we've started. So we could go and pull, hey, I want my August report. Download the transactions. I am on a Mac, so I don't have Excel here. So it won't download it. Just give me a kind of an ugly CSV file, but it'll pull it into a CSV or an Excel file. Then of course, you can manipulate as you need. What you get in that export is a compilation of all this information across this ledger and the expanded details from the date and time of the transaction, status of it, the description, the amount, who was paid, what sport it was. So you can take that again if you need to sort by, all right, show me all my football expenses and all my volleyball expenses. So you can, if you prefer not to do that on the front end, you can export all of your payments and pull it by level, JV versus varsity versus freshman, sport, all those types of things will spit out in that CSV file. Other questions on that? All right, moving along. Again, we've done all of this in the payment section of the software. So all that account set up and pulling reports and transferring of funds and withdrawal and ledgers and receipts, all that sort of thing happens here in the payment section. The actual payment of the officials is going to happen on the game schedule right here. So I'm going to move from payments down to game schedule. And a couple of the things, so again, for the athletic directors and administrators, things like that on the call, those of you that are not strictly financial folks, this won't exactly apply to you unless you're actually coming back later to assign. But the first thing that I recommend for any of the bookkeepers, financial admins is come to this game schedule, toggle over to the pay section. So you'll see different views here. There's a schedule view, there's the assign view, pay view. Of course, you can customize what you're actually seeing here in these columns as well with this custom filters. I recommend for the financial folks, you just kind of stick with pay, go to your filters here, select host, and then select your school name. And what that does for you as bookkeeper, financial admin, that just limits what you see on your game schedule to only the events that you're responsible for paying. So it'll just eliminate any of your away games. We've got warning messages and things that block you and stop you from paying that, but it'll just kind of declutter your game schedule altogether. And to do that again, I went to game schedules, filters, host, and then selected my school. And so it limits my game schedule then to only those that I'm responsible for paying. Good thing about that is you won't have to do that each time you log in. You never click the X on this to kill that filter. It'll always be there each time you log in. So you're looking specifically at only the ones you're responsible for paying for. There are other ways that you can navigate and kind of limit. So if you get a call from Errol about, hey, I'm hearing that this game hasn't been paid for my officials. Can you check on it, see what's going on? And it's football game from last Thursday, something like that. So you can go to your sports filter, check just to be sure. So I can start typing football. Now I'm limiting my game schedule to just football games for my school. And it was a Thursday night varsity game or a Friday night varsity game or a Tuesday night JV game. So I can look at the level, limit to varsity. I can even go to unpaid status. Again, you can leave these filters on all the time so that when you come back, hey, you're kind of clearing off all of the paid already. It's kind of, you're always looking at only those that are unpaid. If you're looking for a specific date range, again, you can see we got this week, next 2 weeks, this month. Or I can go specifically to, hey, he asked me about last Thursday. Let me go look. No games are returned there, but just different ways you can use this game schedule to get to, all right, I'm looking for a specific event, or I'm looking for just those events that have not been paid, since I last logged in on Monday or something like that. You can keep this kind of focused on exactly what you're looking for as a financial admin. Last thing here that I guess we'll cover is, but how do I actually pay? So once you get on your screen the events that you need to pay or want to pay, lots of different options here. So this game fee column, I can just click on the number, those columns there, and you pull up this entire modal and pay this entire game all at once. So again, I came here to this contest, I click this game fee column, it pulled it up, I can check it and hit pay now. That's one option. If you kind of scroll over, so you got a $sign on the far right corner or far right side of this contest, I can click that $sign. Again, same result. I just pull up that entire game so I can check it, make any changes, and then pay now. You can click the contest itself. You got this slider menu that comes out here, this officials and workers tab. So you've got listed kind of all the officials that were there, what their current status is. You can pay them individually one by clicking the $sign. Obviously, that's going to take quite a lot longer to do it that way, but some folks choose to do it that way to be meticulous so they can kind of see the results here. You can also hit manage payments. Pull up again that same screen that allows you to pay the full thing. So that's 4 different options there. Let's see what questions we have. I'm not sure. How do we remove vouchers if they were paid in a different manner? I'm not quite sure I follow that question. So if you can give me some follow-up.
I think what they're talking about is for officials who maybe the school pays with a check on site instead of using Dragonfly Pay. Is there a way to mark it as paid if they pay it on site without using Dragonfly Pay?
There is not. And that is, and I want to, interest of full transparency here, that is not something that we haven't thought about or is a missing feature. It is intentional. So I want to remind everyone on this call, this is our source of revenue at Dragonfly, is this $2 per official per date. That is not of any of your concern, but the reason that we do not allow you to do that or don't make it easy for you to track paying outside of the system is because we don't want it to be easy for you to pay outside the system. Again, I just want to be kind of transparent and honest on that one, because this is how we make our revenue. We're not charging the schools or the officials or the associations. We're basically running a payments platform here. And so, just that is an intentional decision on our part, to not make it easy for you to pay and track outside of the software.
Right. Now,
Yes,
saying that, Brandon,
yeah,
the verified on that payment, when you put that, you bring that up.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is that? Who does that?
So this is in the purpose of this is, well, it's obviously a verified flag. Now, it is a digital version of what I was going to next. I appreciate the segue there, Errol. For those of you that need the proof of services rendered, so basically, those sheets, those vouchers that you can print out, take to the contest, have the officials sign when they show up to say, all right, so Richard did show up, or Orville showed up, Krista showed up. So you got that signature. So a lot of you require this in your accounts payable department. The athletic director has to bring back to you before you release payment. So this is one version of that. If you want to continue that process, for those of you that need it, show you how I got back to that. Documents, create document. Let me start actually from the beginning. So I clicked on the game. It's got the slider menu. Again, you got the game details, you officials and workers, documents, key people. I'm in the documents tab, create document, payment voucher. I went to the officials voucher there. Again, it's going to be something you or your athletic director can print off, take to the contest, have it signed, have the athletic director bring it back to you, and then you can release payment to these officials after you've received this proof of services rendered. Now, what Errol asked there just a second ago is a digital version of that, in which some of the districts, I don't think anybody in North Carolina has utilized this, but in other states, they utilize this verified flag as just a digital version. So the athletic director would come in and they verify the officials that showed up. So that way, when the bookkeeper, the financial admin, business office, whomever comes back in later, if JD right here were unchecked, so they're going to come in uncheck JD, and now we're going to pay everybody except for JD because JD didn't show up. He's not verified. So those are two ways that you can use that kind of verification process. That makes sense?
Well, one follow-on question. You had that up there.
Put it back.
On the pay now button, is that part of the settings now? Because even when, as the assigner,
Yep.
it goes in there, and I'm looking at the fees to make sure they're correct and stuff. Who's authorized to pay? I mean, I know because here, for everybody who's in certain systems, they use Dragonfly Pay.
Mhm.
Is that set up in the permissions? Who goes in there and hit that pay now?
So
Because that-
there's no permissions that you have to set up on this. Obviously, if you don't have access to the account to actually pay, you're not going to have any options here on this screen when like we'll just have the pay now button grayed out.
okay, it's just there.
Right now, who actually can pay this game is whoever has permissions to see the game. So that's kind of a two-part answer to your question there, Errol. So if you don't have access to an account that has money in it, you obviously can't pay. But from those that do have access to it, so Errol, you would be able to pay this contest, or the bookkeeper at the home side, or the athletic director, or the visiting team, or the visiting athletic director. If you can see this game on your schedule, we allow you to pay it. And that's kind of, again, software philosophy on our end, because this always runs through the schools in North Carolina. Where I am in Alabama, actually about 95% of the time, the Officials Association actually makes the payment. But there's still some sports that run it through the school. So we've kind of, instead of us trying to figure out how to set up permissions and make it work in every single state and every single association, every single sport, we've kind of taken the approach of, hey, we'll treat it like lunch this afternoon. If we all went out to eat, well, who can pay for it? Anybody that decides to pick up the tab. We can pay for our own, we can pay for each other, but basically whoever decides to pick up that ticket and pay it is the one that actually is the payer. So
Yeah, because again, and that's why I guess in this, with the way we're set up, and because it shows up when I do the games, and it's, I guess I would tell Brandon, not just for you, but for those on the call, that the regional supervisor, along with the athletic directors, we're equal stakeholders in this. We all want the officials to get paid, but the money is in your account. Not only is this in my current position as a regional supervisor, chairman of the Officials Association, is that I will make sure we get understanding, because I don't want, because I have some other people that assist me or look at things. If they have that right, I don't want that to go me paying, and then we're going to have an understanding where they look, even though I can, that's going to be strictly done by the athletic director, someone from that school. So that does show up, and that's why I want to kind of have this meeting along with some other questions that you all may have. We make sure we're in concert about, hey, how we go forward, who's paying them. That money is your account, and I don't want to do it neither. And if it is, it's going to be understood at the other regional supervisors as well. But that's clear that up. So anybody that appears on there can pay. What I'm hearing from you, Brandon.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. What that also means, though, is we can have pretty easy communication for you and the schools, Mr. Daniels, on what games are still unpaid.
Correct. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Things like that. So when you get a question from your officials on, hey, why haven't I been paid for this? You can go verify each official whether they've been paid or not, whether that contest has been paid. And of course, you got the payment status on each game.
Right.
Right here.
Now, Brandon, let's kind of get back to when you said about the not making it easy, because there's several schools before we make the transition to this Dragonfly. My thing is a question in the chat box, because this seat right now, and for everybody on the call, all regional supervisors are not in concert about this move. We've already done it. We're using Dragonfly, and some are still using the Arbor and payments. Like I say, for football, for all the sports that I do, we're 100% Dragonfly. Now, those that Brandon have, even when we were on the Arbor, they were paying on site. They had, officials go up, and they pay. And I say, now I looked at all the people that have paid up to this point. We started football, and we started the season on the 15th. First football games last week. And I can tell, because I know which schools pay on site, which ones don't. But this year, as we in transition, I think one of the questions in there is it mandatory that they use the payment, but we have to track that by other means. That's what you're saying. That other means, because those are funds that the officials are paid, but you don't track those, correct? I mean, they're in there and it's not paid, it just stays unpaid as far as you're concerned. Brandon, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? So
yeah, no, it'll show as unpaid. Yeah, if you're paying outside the system, it'll stay unpaid here.
okay, but now so in the 10-9, I guess I don't get specific to that, and I'll probably follow on conversation, because again, trust me, the officials will let me know. They will definitely let me know where they got paid. Even the schools that pay on site, tracking those funds. So you're only going to track the funds that they use through Dragonfly Pay.
That's an important point. Absolutely. And I'm sorry that I missed that. Yeah. If you pay outside of the Dragonfly system, we don't have any record of that payment, and
Correct.
we won't be able to do things like issue 1099s and things like that.
You just won't, you issue them, that won't be accounted for.
Well, we won't be able to issue them because we won't have a record of payment outside of our system.
Okay. I mean, but I got officials that go to different school sites. I mean, some of them, they will work at a school that pays through Dragonfly. The next assignment may be, the next 3 assignment may be one they do.
That's yeah. So
okay.
Any payments I consider, so let's say school A is using Dragonfly. So all the payments that are issued through Dragonfly at school A, because they're using our process,
right,
we will issue 1099s for those payments. School
right.
B is not. Yeah, school B is not doing it. And so it will be on school B to make sure that they collect the W-9s from the officials and issue them their 1099s.
Okay.
Sorry, took me a minute to. I'm from Alabama. I told you I'm a little bit slow sometimes.
That's all right. Hey, we gonna be in this together. Because I know some of it's even on this call. That's why I wanted this is important for everybody to hear.
Yes, sir. And I do want to reiterate one thing you said there. There is no mandate for any school to use Dragonfly's payment platform.
Because again, I mean, it's more or less for me. Now I'll go through the videos and stuff, because it'll be things that I'll pay. I mean, some of them like private schools and some other things I'll do. But that's again, this is important information, because again, schools, some run the vouchers, they have people sign it, but all that thing is accessible right there on that documents page. We had one of the ADBs the other day, just that quick. He clicked a couple buttons and he generated the pay sheet, voucher. Because as we go to the playoffs, those who make the playoffs, know we had the second, third, and fourth round games, we advance. We get officials from other associations that come here, and they're going to come and use the same thing. We would have to print that voucher off, but we don't have access to those officials. But the signing process gives us that do that. It's going to touch us in some way, shape.
Mr. Daniels, I think I am pretty much through the bulk of what I wanted to cover. I mean, that's straight through the through line from, hey, set up your account, set the permissions on it, transfer funds, and then make the payment. So I want to open it up for any other comments or questions or concerns.
To include any I guess, issues, any, I guess, things that happened so far. I mean, because this early in the season, again, as we move forward. Yes.
And it can be outside of the payment stuff. I can't promise that I've got a good answer for everything, but I know this is, you guys had a short timeline on when first time you heard about Dragonfly until it was on you. And so I'm here to answer other questions as well, if I can be of service.
Anybody got any questions? I mean, right now, because again, for the most part, I mean, those County schools, Mr. Bratcher, it's working. They're doing it. And Hope County, I mean, Mr. Williams from Scotland County, is there. Now's the time, because you're gonna ask me, and I'll have limited, I have knowledge what we have right now. Brandon has forwarded me, sent me some links I can send to you. But like I say, we're in the season now. I mean, and we're still going through this here, but any problems that you have, I would rather you address that now, like the voided check, how you got to set the account up. Because again, those officials come to the supervisor. And when I send someone out, I've already got a call today that school hadn't paid. And I just kind of told them, look, we haven't, like I say, this kind of happened fairly quick for us, but hey, we're not complaining about it. It's not going to do any good. We just need to get through it. And so again, if you have any questions, now's the time to ask him. And because again, I have meeting all my officials for football on Sunday. We have a clinic. We're going to discuss this because I want them to be focused on the game when they get there, not where they're going to get paid, how long it's going to take. I want them to be focused on the task at hand. If you have any questions, please ask.
I have a question here, Mr. Earl.
Yes.
Now, Brandon.
Yes, sir.
With your email address, my finance lady, she's not on right now. This recording, is it a way that she can go back and look at the recording, and then if she has some other additional questions, is it a way that she can email you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Did you get my email address from the chat?
Brandon at dragonflyathletics.com.
Yes, sir. That's me.
Okay, sounds good.
Send it my way.
And to answer the second part of your question, this meeting's being recorded. And as soon as the meeting's over, I will upload it to a YouTube video that Mr. Daniels can share with you, and you can share with your bookkeeper or whoever that may not have the opportunity to get on at this time.
Thank you, sir.
All right, because we're going to make sure Mr. Williams, because that's the school they call me, haven't paid. All right. Welcome to the life of an athletic director, Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir.
All right. Because you got a football game coming. You still playing football, soccer, and volleyball. So we're gonna get you straight.
All right. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the help. You know, I'm new at this.
Hey, that's only gonna last. The new thing left. Hey, when you owe people money, up that new thing. It ain't working.
Understand that.
The question from the chat was, how soon will the account be up after apparently someone sent you a voided check, Brandon?
Yeah, so I sent that back to, and I only have the screen name here is M. Naylor, and I'm sorry I don't have your actual name, but I sent back. So if I got a voided check, I hope I can get it verified this afternoon, and you can start making payments this afternoon. Thank you,
Yes.
Tiffany, for that. So that came from Tiffany, but for anybody, if once you get once your account is verified, whether it's the manual process or the electronic process, the micro deposits, once it's verified, you can immediately start making payments.
Now, while waiting another question to come up, and so on that verified again, I'm going back. For me, when those individuals get paid by those schools that don't use Dragonfly Pay, is it best just to not do that? I mean, because verified don't mean they paid. Right? When if I verified.
But that would be a way, as to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish, which is which of these folks have I paid and which have I not paid.
Okay, right.
You can use that. You can use that flag, and there's also another way. So if we look at, let's go pull up this list here. So you can uncheck this as well, and you can use check boxes on either side if you needed that to be a two-step process. So you can see now I haven't really selected anybody, but I could use this as the ones that have paid or have not paid. Either side. That doesn't affect it, but it'll be a way for you to track at your school who's been paid and who has not, if you're playing outside of our system.
Right. Now, could you go right quick for everybody here, when you say on the game schedules, because one time, I mean, we had an issue, I mean, you know about it, and so with the schools that are already been playing, not the middle schools, but high schools, and we had a problem with a particular sport that payments were in there incorrectly. Game fees, all the game fees now, say when you all send it for football, I went in and put there's going to be a 4-person JV, 5-person. When they do that, Yes. Now, because they can verify that. I mean, because if they don't have a game fee, and this is for the administrators and athletic directors, because every game fee has to be put in there. Now, it allows them to do that, manipulate that as well, right? When I put a game fee in like for football, we only have 2 game fees, $69.50 or $94.50.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody who goes in there, they can do that too. They have access to that same drop-down menu when I do the.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Anybody that can see the game can pay it and change this pay policy, or you can manually type anything in here as well.
Right. Okay. I mean, but when they go to, okay. I was there, but anytime I was there for the audience here, anytime there is a missing game fee, if it's zeros and it's an actual game, I would ask that you contact the regional supervisor. Or that you suspect the game fees being correct. Some of you have done this for a while, and we knew when those volleyball games fee in there, if you don't have a JV varsity match, it's going to be $102, $120. So again, I know a couple of you all reached out to me. It was another sport, but you still call. We want to get it right. We do not want to be in a situation where we overpaid officials. Now we're trying to get the money back. I would rather, if it's zeros, if it's not in there, contact the regional supervisor. We want to get that right initially. Don't have to do it over. Any other questions for Brandon?
Tiffany has one here that is
Okay.
probably important for me to take for the group if we got just another minute.
Oh, yes, definitely. Oh, most definitely.
When paying officials for JV varsity on the same day, is there 2 vouchers? Oh, why is there 2 vouchers? And that's because they are 2 different contests, and the officials may or may not be the same, up and down the line for each of those contests. And those are also created as 2 different invoices, because when the Mr. Daniels and Mr. Owens, when they go back and check, or when their officials go back and look, they've got to see specifically, all right, I worked a JV and a varsity game. Did I get paid for my JV game? Did I get paid for my varsity game? Did I get paid for that freshman game that I called right before it? Things like that. So they are considered 2 different events that we can pay separately. So we create different payment vouchers as well as 2 different invoices for those contests in our system for accurate record keeping.
And now, Mr. Earl, the video that the gentleman said, Mr. Owens was saying that we would share on YouTube, will you be sending that out to emails, or I'll just need how will I find it on YouTube?
No, I will send the link out to you.
Okay, great.
All right, and it would be a 5-question test as well that you gotta, and if you gotta pass, all right, you'll get graded on it, all right? Because you said you were new, so I got a special thing for new ADs.
Well,
so don't worry.
We're gonna have to discuss that outside the screen.
All right, okay.
Because this has been recorded, so yes, sir. I look forward to it.
But that's the right answer. Yeah. I got to record. All right. Anybody, anything else for Brandon? Again, Brandon, thanks for your time. Guys, you have those links, and then I will share with you. You got those YouTube videos, and some of them most of them are less than 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Kind of simple. Follow along. I would ask you that you give that the first try before you do that. But if you have to, those of you that on the call, you have his direct email and everything else. And I'm embracing the change. The transition has been smooth for me and my football officials. And I have basketball as well. That's going to be a challenge. Then I got softball. So it's a full year thing for me, like you. Again, we're equal stakeholders in this here. And let's be positive and let's make this work. I mean, well, someone just came in the room here, and he's the athletic director, student activities director for Cumberland County, our biggest school system that we have here. So David Colbert just came on. But again, James, Mr. Lewis, do you have any comments, things before we leave for Brandon that's unique to your district? And I say, because Alabama has districts, but we have different communities. We have 3 athletic directors which is Mr. Jerome Hunt down in Robeson County, and Mr. James Lewis in Sampson County, and also Mr. Colbert here in Cumberland County. Any of those county ADs have anything for these are your ADs that are on the phone. Mr. Colbert, you got anything you want to share? Going once, going twice? Mr. Lewis, are you still with us?
I'm still here. We're learning, we're trying.
I mean,
Catch
any unique challenges, I mean, it'll be for the high school or for the middle school, Mr. Lewis, anything that, I mean, question you have, while we got Brandon Wallace,
No questions, just our middle schools, it's gonna take a little while longer to get them on board and get them up to speed.
I mean, Mr. Lewis, in what manner though? I mean, because if they set the count up, I'm gonna put the schedules in container for the middle schools.
Well, the High School Athletic Association mandated that all of our high school athletic directors sign on and create a Dragonfly account.
Right.
That's not happened for our middle school athletic directors.
Okay, now for the middle schools, now, but there's no cost associated with that, right?
That's correct.
I mean, so Mr. Lewis, I mean, what, if they do that, I mean, because again, now, some of your schools use the Arbiter Pay, they were.
Yes.
Okay, all right, because I'll probably come out there, because if they do that, I don't think it's gonna be, because in Cumberland County, all the middle schools are doing, they all have. I mean, we just had an AD meeting earlier this week on Tuesday.
So they're doing all their scheduling through Dragonfly, but they're paid
Yes.
through Arbiter.
No, everything is Dragonfly.
Everything's Dragonfly. Okay.
Right, see, that's why I say that this, I mean, I'm talking of sports that I, you know, for all the sports that I do. I know, because to me, it's a clean action. They check the officials through Dragonfly and they make the payments. Because to me, it's simple. I do all the schedules. So like I put all your schedules in, I put all Cumberland County in, I put all Hope counties in, middle schools. I'm gonna make this seamless for the middle school. The only thing those middle school ADs have to do is see the officials and click the button to pay.
So you'll send them, they'll get an invitation from you to join Dragonfly. Is that correct?
I can send them the link, and again, at our meeting, I'm like, David Copeland's standing by. He conducted a meeting on Tuesday, and many of the middle schools ADs are here on the call right now. And I asked them to share their experience, because one of the schools, I sent the link while I was at the meeting. In 3 minutes, within 3 minutes, the one school who's on Fort Bragg, she was on, she had her account, and she saw her schedule.
Perfect. That's what we need. That's all we need to do to get them on board.
Right, like I say, I will send you the link. I will come over there one afternoon, I mean, whatever they want to do, and they can do that, because out of football season, I say, because I got your schedules in already. See,
oh yeah,
in football, you're not gonna be able to see them on Arbiter, because I'm not using Arbiter. So David Cover, go ahead.
I was just letting you know, I finally got my computer unmuted. We're doing Dragonfly middle school and high school, as you just stated. All our middle school ADs are going to need to know is basically how to check for the officials to make sure they're at the game and that they're covered. And then on paying the official, and you know, I hope that as we get more familiar with it, that they'll become experts in Dragonfly like our high school ADs are going to have to be. But right now we know it's a minimal process for middle school AD, and we appreciate Errol doing the uploading and bulk scheduling for all of us. That helps out a lot. And but if we are going to go to Dragonfly, there's no need in us doing Arbiter Sports for middle school and Dragonfly for high school. The selling point in this thing was this was going to integrate all our systems. So we're moving to do that, to be under one umbrella.
If I can help, Errol, instead of you driving around, this is my job. If I can help with those middle school and county trainings, that is like solid goal for us. If you can put your entire district, county, all your middle schools together, rather than us having to answer questions when they come across them one at a time, or run trainings one at a time. I would love to set up and run any of those trainings that any of the ADs need me to run for all your middle schools. That's, like I said, that is the most effective way. That's why I was jumped at the opportunity when Errol asked me about this one today. He was going to put everybody together. You tell me when and where to show up, that we can hit, you know, multiple people all in one training. That's very efficient for us. So happy to do that.
Well, let me ask this right now, because they added all the middle schools, everybody on here. I mean, both Mr. Lewis, who has Sampson County, and Mr. Cover, all of them are added. I say, and I have all their schedules in. Now, what we had on Tuesday for the Cumberland County middle school ADs, they can all see the schedules. All they do is populate those other sports and put them on there. They're all in the system. Now to do this for that one, we say district for Sampson County, those schools are already in there and they already linked to my account. What would it be? Now I can send them the link to set it up. Once they set it up, we are integrated. What else? Right, Brandon?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Once you're linked up, and I'm answering a question here. So one of the, and you can tell me, Errol, the links that you're sending out, those are the ones I sent you last week or earlier this week. I can't remember, but
That's correct. Yes.
okay.
Yes.
One of those links will be to go and sign up for demo slots. So we're running these every single day.
Right.
And so what you can do, guys, we try to do that as a one-on-one training, again, because we're talking about financials. So we try not to get too many people if you're actually going to be looking at, hey, here's my bank account, set it up, things like that. But if it is like a school district and you want to put everybody, so one person sign up and then give that link out to everybody, that's perfectly fine with us. So if you want to sign up for one of those demos and the links that Mr. Daniels is going to send out, and then you can share that link with as many people as you want to. So you can have 20 people, show up on those meetings after you sign up, just share it out, or let me know who all you want added to it after you sign up, and I can put them in and send an invitation as well.
And I'll do that today. I mean, I got some from Professor Tina. I'll do that, Tina. We just pick a date and I'll send that. I'll have that link. Now,
Okay.
trust me, the things that we're doing today is going to put us leaps and we're going to make leaps and bounds as we go forward.
Absolutely.
It's only going to get smoother. It's because it hasn't been, the waters have been kind of calm for me because football plays one game per week. I mean, even at different levels, we got a Davy game and a Boston game. It's like home and away. I mean, we know there's other sports that play several, but the things that we learn now as we go through the year, I mean, Dragonfly is doing some things that's gonna, we are the regional supervisors pushing them to do, to make it easier for us. For me, my goal and the purpose for this is that those kids are playing sports. We need officials. For my officials, I'm making this painless. What I mean is that all they need to know, and I communicate that with them very clearly, that they can get their game. They can accept it. Once I do the assignment, they can accept the game and get paid. All the other stuff that we got to do behind the scenes, like we do already. When you go to a football game, all people want to do is they go in there, get concession stand, and watch the kids perform. A lot of things, a lot of people doing heavy lifting from them that they don't see. That's what we get. Some of you will get paid to do. So let's do the heavy lifting now. Then as things go, things will be much smoother down the road.
I just have one question, Mr. Daniels, Mr. Wallace. I know y'all were saying middle school is being integrated, but I just want to make sure I know what I'm doing before you set this training up, just in case we don't get it in time. So you're saying I already know how to, because I was following along with finding the refs. But I guess my biggest concern is the pay and making sure I'm paying the refs, because I see I can pay multiple at one time. But your screen is a little small and my eyes ain't as good as what they used to be. So I can just watch a video. I need to watch the video to show me how to pay them. And will that amount be in those boxes, or will I have to put that amount in the boxes?
Brandon, can you go to my account and go to Ann Chestnut?
Yes, sir. You want me to log into your actual association?
Yes.
Give me just a minute. Y'all get to watch some of the behind the scenes stuff here. Oop. Log out.
You got to get him out of his account now. You got to get in there. You got to spell my name.
To answer the question, so I can kill this dead time that's going on here. And this might be something that is more appropriately answered by Errol or John. My understanding is that the regional supervisors are supposed to pick the pay policy that applies to each contest.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. Well, I'm glad this thing works the same way for you like it does for me. Yeah.
You said you want me to go to the, where would I go?
No, we in school, I mean, it's Ann Chestnut Middle School.
To go to the game schedule?
Yeah, game schedule, yeah. Mhm. There you go. Football game, 8th grade football, and in it, right there. Now, Whitney. You look at- You want to see how to pay?
Oh, so go ahead and pay it then. Got it.
I mean, just, yeah, sure. Now, Whitney, that's your schedule. That's the one you saw the other day. That's the one you see. That's your football games right there.
So couple of options here. You can click on this column in the game fee. Now, there will be nothing will occur there because there are no officials and no
Sign.
fees here. Right. So if you clicked it right now, you're going to get the side menu that slides out. You know, you go to officials and workers and say, hey, nobody's assigned. So there's nobody.
Look like what Frank Johnson. This, I mean, this. I mean, I'm gonna put some people in there.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, really, all right.
As soon as there's an assignment there, obviously you'll see it on your end. So now we got somebody in there. We got the fee policy. We click on that, and now anybody that's been assigned to that game, we can go ahead and pay them. Now, as that fills in, as Mr. Daniels, Mr. Owens fill those in. Now we filled it up. We got everyone here. You can see that your pay status, let's go to pay. You can see that your pay status for each of these slots, for each of these officials is unpaid. So we can click on this game fee column. We can pay the full game all at once. We click on this $sign. That's another way that's just an option 2 to pay. We can open up, we click on the game, open up this side drawer here that slides out. Click on the $sign individually beside each name. We can click manage payments and pay the full game all at once. There are some other options here. If none of those are appealing to you, I did not get into the pay sheet stuff just to avoid confusion today, but there are other options. But right off the jump, there are 4 pretty easy ways to pay. 1, click the game fee column. Click the $sign on the far right side of the game. Open up the game, and then you can pay the officials individually. Or click the manage payments button again and pay the full contest all at once.
All right, thank you. That's all I needed. Y'all said that's the thing we focusing on middle school, and I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Errol, I'm going to pull these.
No. Hey, look, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it. We can do that.
Oh, I can do it right now.
All right. Okay. Yeah, because that guy you put a referee. If I did that, I wouldn't have a job. Right. I mean.
Looks like there's some other questions in chat. So we can check them.
Okay.
Some amounts are showing, some are not. Yeah. So that's something I'll tread lightly on. Some amounts are showing and some are not. So that's.
Again, let me elaborate on that. Now, until we put a name against that, you won't see it. But if you have, I mean, for football, I was in an 80 meeting on Thursday, and I gave the ADs, athletic directors, the 2 amounts that we pay. We're gonna pay one amount for middle school. It's all, hey, it doesn't matter how many officials you have, it's the same amount. Same thing for varsity, all the varsity amounts, same. But if you're a regional supervisor, it's volleyball, match 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5, JV varsity, like they we do it good in the basketball. I will send that for all the sports that I assign, I will send you the pay schedule. Because you won't see that until, I know some people have to, some of the athletic directors ask me that. So as you do the budgeting, I will send you what those game fees are. But as far as they won't appear until I put an individual and an official assigned to that game, where game fee appear. So if you need to know, I'll send it out to my other regional supervisors, fellow regional supervisors. We'll send you, especially for those that in season and those that are upcoming, just for your budgeting process. We'll send that to you. Any other questions there? And that's all I have. Again, thanks so much for your time. I'll send those links that he sent to me out to you all. Anybody got any other questions, comments? Hey, nothing else. Have a great weekend. Hey, support high school sports. Hey, Friday night football. It's a game near you somewhere. Go out and support that. Again, thanks everybody for their time. That's all I have. Thanks a lot, Brandon.
Thank you, everyone. Errol, I'm gonna hang on. John has asked me to hang on, ask
Okay, all right.
the questions.